live.
We getting jiggy dance.
Oh,
Okay, I like Stan. How's everyone doing today on Facebook Live? This is actually going as well in the VA Geek podcast. So welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the show. With me today, I have two of my partners here. We have Christian Mora, and we also have Stan T. I like saying Stan T because I chop up the last name. But Stan, you might want to go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit because I don't think they've seen you much on the show.
no, so this is my my introduction, my first one, so mark it on your calendars. So for everybody who cannot pronounce it, it's simple, it's Diesfeld, but we'll keep it simple. I just go by Stan the man for my close one.
I like that, Stan the man. That's good stuff.
You like it?
All right, cool. So guys, today it's really about myths, and more myths, because as a lot of you guys know, we're kind of turning the corner on the season, right? We already gone through tax season March. I hope you got your taxes in by the 17th. Well, they actually extended, I believe, to the 18th. So throughout this whole time, we've been blessed with a lot of business and helping a lot of people get into homes. But during that time, we also heard a lot of different myths. And those are things we want to debunk, because at the end of the day, what's important to us is that you as a consumer are well informed. Right. So, whether it's now or in the future, so you know exactly what the opportunity is. Right, guys?
Indeed. Absolutely.
Right.
Exactly. So for those of you that are just joining us right now on the show, I want to give you a quick breakdown of some of the things that are going to happen within the next 10, 15 minutes, because as I know, most of you are probably at work, right? Or if not driving. And if you're driving, you might want to actually watch the recording for later. Okay, no liability, whether you're driving and on your phone, driving and texting. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about the opportunities of what kind of credit score do I actually need to buy a home, right? A lot of people are under the impression that you need a 700 plus. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're also going to chat about first time buyers only for FHA. Is that the only situation that I can use an FHA for? Can I use an FHA again if I've already purchased a home? We're also going to go about the scenarios on, can I use an FHA loan, which I think Stan is going to go through some of the benefits, and use it to buy an investment, right? So that's pretty sweet. And then we're going to talk about some changes that we're going to be doing to be able to provide more value during the week, which would be an introduction of different parts of the show that we're going to do weekly. So if those are things of value, please stay tuned as we're going to be going through that within the next 10 to 15 minutes. So to start everything off, I'm going to ask Christian this question, and it's more about, where does a credit score need to be so that I can go ahead and buy a home? So Christian, the myth that I've been hearing out there is that you need 700 plus, 720, 740. Tell me a little bit about what you actually need to get into a home, so that those people that don't have that 720 can see, there's a possibility out there for me.
Actually, Freddie, you need down to a 580. With a 580, you can get into a house. So your minimum scores are really around 580. Ideal scores are 620 and up for Fannie Mae. But with FHA and VA, we go down to a 580.
Okay. All right. So tell me, just so that they know, because obviously we want to go deep, not wide, right? And a lot of people don't know necessarily what Fannie Mae is or anything like that. So if I were to have right now a 640, what difference does it make to me about the 640 or the 720? Or am I in the same category? What negative effects does it have that I have the 640, for example? What's the difference?
Yeah, so it's a good question, and I see where you're going. We're trying to expand a little bit, and obviously, you want to inform your borrowers to, education, and that basically benefits all parties within the transaction, because I think the big thing is, mortgagers have been getting a bad rap from before, and now we're trying to clean it up. And how are you going to do that? Well, basically by being as clear as possible with your borrowers. So we specialize in first-time home buyers. And the reason why is because we take the time to explain some of the information. It's a good question. You could come up and be like, hey, a 720 is what's needed for, yes, that would be awesome if all our borrowers had 720, but how realistic is that? No, it's not. So really, just to debunk that myth, just like Christian says, the minimum qualifying score that you need to apply for a loan would be a 580. Now, that's basically just qualifying. Now, are you going to get the best terms for it? Probably not, but if your dream home, if your dream is to get into a home, don't let that stop you just by a credit score that's gonna, give you the red flag. I think, initially you want to consult a lender, an expert, and that'll get you the information that you need. Maybe you're not ready right then and there, but at least it'll get you started to be in direction. And if you can do it with a 580, absolutely, be more than happy to take it.
Great stuff, Stan. So let me add this real quick, because this is something that I want my people out there that have the 560, because life happens, and we were all at one point, we've all been hit by life. When it comes to me, Christian, Stan, if you come with us with a 580 and you need to get into the home, are we going to do what's necessary to get you in? Yes, but I also want to let you know that we're also going to try to make it an educational process, because if there's an opportunity for you to go into the home with a 620 or a 640 and also take advantage of those benefits, for example, a better rate or less of a down payment, especially with FHA.
Exactly.
Those are things that we're going to try to encourage you to do. It doesn't mean that we don't want to help you at the moment. It's that we also want to provide you with the best opportunity for you and your family. Okay? So
let's expand on that a little bit. So, it just depends on what type of transaction you're doing. You're only going to go as far as the amount of work you put in. So if you really care about your borrowers, you engage, you have that conversation, like, listen, I know you're in a hurry to buy. What's your timetable? These things can take 30 days. And then you basically give them the options. And that's all part of just like educating your borrowers, So yes, indeed, that's part of that. And that's what we do at Hamilton too. We're not only just pushing loans, but we'll take your time, we'll put you in the best scenario possible. If it takes me an extra day just to analyze and give you credit scenarios to improve, boost your scores or whatnot, we'll definitely do that for our borrowers. Absolutely.
Perfect. So Christian, anything else you want to add?
I think Stan hit it on the spot. I mean, to answer your question directly, a negative impact on a 640 compared to a 720, it's most likely a difference in rate.
Yeah.
It could be a very small difference in rate. It could be anywhere from 0.25% to half a point difference. A lot of times it doesn't make much of a difference in the monthly payment, and they don't let that stop you. That's pretty much what I can say.
Correct. So I want a quick shout out to those of you in the chat room. My wife, my better half, Josie Baez, and we have Lanice there as well, one of our homies, and we have Val, which is a Christian's better half. Can you ladies do us a favor? It's really important that those individuals out there really get to see this on their newsfeed, because there are families out there right now that might have that 590 and they're just going through life feeling as if they can't have the pride of home ownership. So let's share the video while it's live so that hopefully we can catch one of those people. We can give them the opportunity. So Josie actually asks us a great question, and this is different than the questions that we had, but I'm still going to throw it out there. I think Christian would do a great job with it, which is, could we use FHA twice, right? So if we use FHA to buy our first home, what kind of scenario do we have to be in so that we can take advantage of that and use it for the second time?
Well, if you currently have an FHA mortgage right now in your primary home, FHA will allow you to rent out that home as long as the reason for the next purchase is either you're moving up, it makes more sense for your growing family, or you're moving closer to your work. So that's one of those are the two reasons that would make it very easy to get another FHA loan. You don't have to sell the property to buy another house with FHA.
That's the point that I was going to drive right now. So what you're telling me is that people look at FHA products and they say, well, this is that one opportunity that I'm going to be able to use FHA. But realistically, they can actually take advantage of it more than once. It's just about the scenario. Does it work in this specific scenario? And for that, I would challenge you guys out there to give me, Stan, or Christian a call and say, hey, guys, this is what my current situation is. Can I take advantage of an FHA loan? While the answer might be yes, guess what? Even taking the advantage of the FHA home, that might not be the most advantageous loan product for your current situation. There are different products out there, including conventional products, that might give you the possibility of putting less than 3.5% down. And that's something that's knowledge that isn't being shared enough out there. So how about Stan? What do you have to say about that?
Well, I think basically it's just going back to your myth. The myth is that FHA is strictly for a first-time home buy, and that's not true. Now, there are guidelines, obviously, to when and when you can't use it. So Christian brought up a good one. But, that is not something like an average consumer is going to know when is the right time for me. So the best thing they could do is just inquire what's the best loan product for me, because you could be headstrong in thinking FHA, and then we have other programs or incentives that are kicking in that'll help you out. But yeah, it's not strictly a first time home buy only, and once you bought that, you're eligible, because you can move out of state, sell your home. It's just different scenarios that's going to apply to it. So yeah,
exactly. So I'm just going to throw this one out there because it's something that we do all the time. Sometimes if the person has very good credit, right, but they're under the impression that FHA is the route they want to go, we actually end up seeing that their mortgage insurance ends up being a lot lower because of their score, right? So that means you can probably get a better payment, and you put less than 3.5% down, right? It's going to vary on the scenario. Well, the message that we're trying to get across is that you're going to want to ask these questions instead of just drilling down that, this is the product that I want to use. There's many different products. Some that have their pros and their cons, So Josie actually just asked, what's the con of purchasing FHA? And at least from what I'm going to go ahead and put out there, the con of it is that when it comes to your PMI, your mortgage insurance is going to be attached to the life of the loan, right? So you're being quoted something that's going to be there for 30 years. Where with the conventional product at 80% equity, you can basically refi, take that completely off, and by 78%, the lender itself is going to take it off. So those are some of the benefits. Any other benefits you guys want to point out on that one?
Well, the PMI is tax deductible.
Yeah.
There you go.
It could be it could wash off.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's an option as a homeowner. It gives you, on your taxes to claim, which is always a benefit. But I mean, you automatically assume, the mortgage insurance is going to take up your monthly payments. But sometimes FHA may have a lower interest rate, so it ends up being very competitive with what a conventional rate could be for that particular borrower. So it's not automatic that the PMI is going to be assumed like it's a higher monthly payment. Those are the things that we could compare for them. Absolutely.
Perfect. That's good stuff. Good stuff. Now, interesting enough, we have this video now has been shared multiple different places. So that's awesome. Now, what's happening is that we also have people asking questions in different channels. So actually, there was, I believe, Carrie Adwell, her first name is Caridad. I love her. She's amazing. An agent out of Keller Williams, Miami. She actually just finished finding out this information recently and shared that pertaining to the FHA products with their clients. So this is super important, guys. And that's why I asked to share so that they can know, right? So, wow. So Juan Zuluaga just came into the chat room and gave me probably the best segue that I can ask for, because what we're going to talk about right now is FHA as an investment, right? And we see that Zulu posted there, Freddie did the impossible for my client yesterday. We closed with an FHA on an income-producing property, right? So I don't need to specify on who the client is because this is obviously something that's private to them. But this is definitely someone that, in my opinion, deserved to have this opportunity, which was they can only go FHA, yet the product that they wanted to do was one that was going to give them a better life, in which it was going to produce income for them. So let's go a little bit into that, guys. Can you use an FHA product as an investment? What do you have to say about that, Stan?
I want to say yes, but I'm actually going to defer to the experts on this one, just because I was just like, well, that falls along with what we were talking about earlier, as in, it doesn't make sense as far as, are you buying for, in your primary and all that? So that's a little bit guideline heavy. So I'm going to defer on this one.
Let's go. Let's do this. We're going to call you.
You could buy FHA. You could buy an investment property with FHA.
Okay.
As long as you're occupying the unit and you're renting the other unit.
Oh, gotcha. So
FHA allows border income.
Right.
Or if you could buy a duplex, triplex, or fourplex, and you could live in one unit while you rent out the other.
Okay. So all right. So basically the scenario changed a little bit. So the way the question should be posed is your FHA primary is going to be as an investment. So basically your current home will be the one rented out, while the one you're going to live in is the FHA. So that's what I was a little bit unsure about, but thank you for clarifying.
Okay. So what you're telling me, right? Because I like putting it out in layman's terms so that everyone out there that might not know much of the real estate lingo can say, you know what, that's something that I can possibly do, or something that I'm interested in. So Christian, you're my loan officer right now, okay? And I'm gonna ask you a question, right? So if I see a quadplex right now that has 4 units, unit bringing in $1,000 a month in rental income, right?
Yeah.
And the person is looking to sell that quadplex, and you're saying I have to live in one of them. And what if my mortgage is $1,500 for that one unit? Are we saying that I see a net profit of $2,500 a month?
You could be getting paid to live in that property.
Really?
Yeah. As long as you're occupying the unit, one of the units, you can get rental income and purchase it with FHA with the minimum down 3.5%.
Exactly, because all they're requiring is one of the units being primary, guys. So these are some of the things that, like I said,
the unit.
Go right ahead. You got cut off. What was that?
Sorry, it was cutting off
the recording. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So quick shout out to Maylene. Maylene, it's been a long time. I haven't seen you on the show, so thank you for coming on. We really do appreciate you.
I like that. House hacking with FHA.
Make the money work for you. I like it.
Exactly. So that's something that we use for those savvy buyers that have already known that they've been taking advantage of that. For those of you that haven't, that's something you're going to want to reach out to us so that we can talk about the structure and see about where those opportunities may lie for you. Okay. So the last part of our show today is just going to have a quick segment that we're going to talk about some changes that's going to take place with the VA Geek Show. And that is starting next week. And this is something that was postponed from the beginning of April. We're actually going to start in May. Starting next week, we want to go ahead and actually have a Spanish VA Geek Show that's going to be featuring Stan most of the weeks in Spanish, right? We're gonna want to provide value to our Spanish community, which in my opinion isn't being catered to when it comes to education about real estate mortgages, and what opportunities lie there. Now, the VA Geek Show on Friday has been causing us to kind of shift some things around. So we've decided to actually start doing the show on Thursdays, and it's going to be around this time. Now, on Friday, we're going to go ahead and post a repeat so you guys can go ahead and see that. But you'll also most likely receive it inside your email, or you can also follow it with the VA Geek Show podcast. If you have iTunes, or if you have any of the Android apps that can get you a podcast, you're gonna want to go ahead and look for us, the VA Geek Show podcast, which is going to be something you can get value from when you're driving to work. And as we all know, these Florida commutes are not 5 minutes, guys. We're no longer in Manhattan. We are definitely in Florida, and you need to have a drive to get to wherever you want to go. So, en el momento les queremos dar las gracias a los viewers que tenemos que están viendo de la República Dominicana. Definitivamente lo podemos ayudar acá en el estado de la Florida a comprar su propiedad de inversión. So, definitivamente estamos a la orden y lo apreciamos muchísimo. Just to get something clear there before we finish up, our team does speak Spanish, English, French, and Creole. So there is absolutely no reason for you not to send a client our way. We'll be more than happy
to cover. Just let them know.
Exactly. And as Josie mentioned, we're very, very good with Spanglish. That's actually my first language. So we don't want to make these too long at the end of the day because we want to make sure that you guys stick with us. So we want to say thank you very much for coming on the show. As of next week, you will be seeing the VA Geek Show in Spanish and in English. I want to thank Stan and Christian very much for being our guest today. And we are here to make it happen for all of you guys. You guys have an amazing, amazing Friday, and stay safe out there on the weekend.
Awesome. Thank you for having us.
All right, guys.
I'm practicing my Rosetta Stone. I'm on level 3 for Spanish, and I'm taking salsa classes next week. So we're ready for the market.
You got it. Remember, you're stand-up man, so you got to make it work. You guys have an amazing, amazing weekend. Bye-bye.
It's to you. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in. This public service announcement is brought to you by Freddie Baez Calderon, your local expert for all your mortgage needs. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to Freddie and his team. Be, do, have